This morning, we've got a bit of a mixed agenda. I've invited several members of County Council to come before us and share with us the debate, the concerns, and the process around determining what will happen with data centers in Greenwood. Like every other debate we have, this is an opportunity for us as citizens to engage with our leaders. So I'm going to ask you to ask the tough questions that you have in a very respectful manner and be respectful of the answers that they give you. This is an opportunity for dialogue, not a screaming match. I don't suspect many or any of you would do that, but I just want to lay those ground rules first. We have Toby Chapel, Johanna Bishop, and James Pickman. I'm so sorry. We'll get it when you come up here. But we're going to ask them just to share. A lot of angst is going on around what's happening with these data centers, what's happening to the environment, what's happening to the communities, and what Greenwood is going to do before, if, and after one comes here. So what I'd like for them to do is share how they're going through their process of preparing the community and laying the groundwork for what would happen. And I'd like for you to share what your ultimate concerns are going to be. It's not enough to say stop it or go. If there's something that you're concerned about in your particular communities, it would help them to make better decisions if we were able to articulate that. So.
So good morning, everybody. I am Johanna Bishop, and this is my 4th year in County Council. And so I am also up for re-election. I don't have an opponent in the primary, but I do need your vote in November. Earlier this week, on Tuesday, we did have, County Council had a meeting, and at our meeting, it was our second reading for a text amendment that discusses the rules and the guidelines for adding data centers to our ordinance. And so in that meeting, and it was a very long meeting, and it is still online right now, so you can go and look at that meeting, because one thing that I liked is that the administration actually had different companies like CPW, Metro, who else? Duke Energy was there, and they addressed how having a data center here would impact what they could do for our community. And I learned a lot by sitting, listening to what they had to say. And for me, the meeting was long. Yes, it was. And a lot of people have their own opinion as to what was going on. But right now, what we're doing is we're looking at, because we have had interest from data centers here in Greenwood. They are interested in coming. And so the thing about it is, when you know that something may happen, it is very important, in my opinion, to make sure that as they come, that you're addressing the things that, you're addressing how they come. You're making sure you're putting in rules and guidelines. And myself, I love Greenwood. I grew up here in Greenwood. I grew up in Hodges, and I live in Greenwood, in the city of Greenwood right now. I have 4 children, and it's very important to me about our community, about our environment. And it was very important when Miss Griffin had gotten a message from your president, and he asked for one of us to be here, so it was important for me to be here. And I asked Mr. Chappell, our county manager, as well as Mr. Bateman, our economic director, to come and just have this conversation with you guys. I know there's a lot on social media about what data centers, what happens with data centers and what has happened in other communities. But this is Greenwood, and our county is very different. It is very different, and I like the fact that we are doing research, we are putting in guidelines, and we are trying to make sure that if one comes in a place where it's not in the wrong place, if that makes sense. So what I did is, with what I want to do is, I'd rather, instead of us standing up here and trying to tell you this and that, I'd rather hear questions from you guys. And what we're going to do is answer the questions, if that's okay.
Bluetooth mode.
I think they've got,
Okay.
we'll just swap places.
So, yeah, one thing that I just heard you say is, if one comes, sounds like if a developer decided to do that, they can just do that. You don't get any kind of veto authority or anything over that before they come in. Is that the process?
This is the thing. Right now, the way our ordinance is written, because we have a rural development district, which is RDD, they can actually come and build one right now without us saying yes or no. They can do that. And because of that, we want to make sure, that's why we're working on this text amendment. We want to make sure that we put in guidelines, and they address setbacks. They address the process they have to go through when they get ready to get their utilities. I mean, they have to have a actual permit, and it's a conditional permit that actually makes them go through a process in order to be approved.
And now they don't have that?
No. That's because when these ordinances were written, there were no data centers. So now it's time for us to address, the changing of the world.
Right.
And the thing that I don't think everybody understands is everything that we do, everything is attached to a data center. When we go to we had the CEO at Self Regional there, Dr. Mac Logan, and he discussed how with our My Charts, all of that data's on a data center. The MRIs, the CTs, everything about your medical history is actually on a data center, and they've got 2 data centers that they use in 2 different places. And I don't know if you understand how the size of data on computers or even on your phone, but he said that Self Regional has 700 terabytes of data on 2 data centers. That's a lot of data. And so the thing about it is, as the United States grows, as we use our phones, as we upload our pictures on Apple, on the cloud, that's where they're being placed, on data centers. And so the thing about it is, if we don't have data centers in the United States, our data centers do not need to be any other place than in the United States. They don't. I mean, we already deal with being hacked. We already deal with all kinds of issues electronically and on the internet. So the thing about it is, at some point, in order to do the things that we love to do on our phones, on our computers, we're gonna have to build data centers. And so my thing is, it's important for me as a county council member to research, to go and ask questions, and I'm just that type of person because I've done the same thing that everybody else has done. I've looked online, and when I see all of and I'm like, what in the world? This is crazy. This is scary. I don't like this. But just because I don't like it doesn't mean I don't have to deal with it. I have to deal with it because of my position. I have to deal with it. County council has to address it. And if we don't address it, it just leaves us in a place that we don't need to be. Now, I know everybody wants to do a moratorium, but the thing about it is, why do a moratorium when you can put in rules? You can put in rules. When you start shutting out things, you don't know if it's something that's really good for you. You don't know. As things change, we have to change with them. We do.
So I get that. The stuff that makes life convenient for us is tied to data and a data center. I get that, and I understand that necessity. So the question becomes, how do you control the size and growth of these, and what impact will they have on the environment?
One thing that I heard at the meeting and that I love that James and as well as the different ones that came expressed is that as far as Greenwood, and even CPW said it, I mean, Duke Energy said it, as far as Greenwood, the size of a data center that we can sustain is up to a large data center. So, for me, that's what I want to say about that. I'm going to leave that to them to finish the rest of it, but that's important because they've looked at what they can do and what the systems can sustain, as well as CPW mentioned. We lost Ascend. Am I saying that right? They lost water with them as well as electric, and so these are gaps for these companies, and a lot of times when those gaps are there, that's why they have to increase the rates. And so as we bring in new businesses, these new businesses allow for them to do what they need to do as far as their business, because CPW is still a business. There's still a business, and it still has the capacity. It has much more capacity than what it's operating at. Same thing with Duke Energy. And so I'm going to pass. Which one?
Let me step in.